Assalamu alaikum. I want to take this chance to thank my family, my Chinese family, in La Chance for inviting me to and giving me this opportunity to talk to these good people and professionals. Today I will not take much from your time. Inshallah, I will try to summarize the presentation as soon as possible. The key presentation points here is that today's challenges facing the poultry business, maybe around the world, but I'm talking about the Middle East at least. Then we will talk about the successful farm management to face the challenges and as an aid of survival against the challenges we face in our business. We will talk about building the block, the assets, the people, the performance, the cost, and the market. Then some key issues and things we must have. The challenges, as very obvious, we can see here, is the increasing the feed raw material prices. In the last couple of months, I guess maybe Dr. Saeed can share this with me, the prices of the feed ingredients has been increased by maybe 300%. Right, every day. Then the fuel and utility prices also is going up. The avian disease threats, as everybody knows, about avian influenza, about IB and Newcastle, whatever. Most the diseases which induce economical loss. Then the retailer globalization, as everybody knows, the retailers everywhere now, Carrefour or whatever, I don't, it's not in my mind now because the trip was too long. But like Carrefour and other retailers. And as everybody say in this business that you can deal with the terrorist or negotiate with the terrorist, but you cannot negotiate with the retailers. Then increasing local and international competition in the poultry business also is something of the challenges. How we do survive within these challenges? For sure, this is the most exciting time in the poultry business in the world. But the dynamic markets offer real opportunities because the market of the chicken is not stable. It's something we call it's a volatile market. And today you can see the market is going this way, tomorrow is going the other way. At this time, the well-organized and fast-moving companies will succeed. This is the only way to face the challenges at these days. Also, increasing global per capita consumption of chicken meat is helping. Continuing economic growth in many places, maybe this year or since the COVID problem, we face a little bit of economic crisis, but for sure, the continuing economic growth will drive chicken demand everywhere. We can see here that this chart, since the year 2000, the animal production from the year 2000 up to the year 30 projected, we can see here the broiler has booming against the beef and the pork. This is the integrated poultry supply chain. I put it just to explain a little bit about the integrations, because a successful integration is the aim to survive against the challenges. We start with the breeding company, where you have all the pure lines, and then you have the grandparent operations, then you have the parent stock farms, then you go to the hatchery, then the broiler farms, then the primary processing, the further processing, then you make branding and distribution and customers, and then to the consumers. And the raw material procurement and compound feed milling, which is supporting all the farming. This integration is a must at this time. What is the benefits of the integration? The control of the supply chain. You can control your supply chain. You don't need any brokers in the middle between the operations. Then you can make more profit. You can survive. You can plan and standardize to reduce the variables. You can have the opportunity of common breed choice. For example, if we look to the Middle East countries, we will find a country like Egypt, they prefer the chicken about 1.8 to 2 kilos. And in the processing plant, they prefer the 1.8 kilo live chicken. But in a country like Saudi, they prefer 1.4 kilo live chicken. Then you can select, when you are integrated, you can select the breed which is suitable to the country and the market. The feed raw material standardization is very easy when you are integrated. You can put standards for your feed ingredient in the procurement, and then it can be consistent easily. The consistency and performance and the quality, you can control all things by yourself, from the parent stock, from the day-old chick until the processing plant. Then also you can involve the large retailers and food service in your business. Efficient farm management needs to consider, number one, the assets. Your assets is very, very important to be fit for purpose. Build chicken houses which is not fit for purpose, and it can be used for some other reason. You have to understand exactly what the chicken requires. Number two is the people. The people is also assets, by the way. Then operational performance, you have to follow up. The cost competitiveness, you have to understand your market. What is the market required? Some market required white chicken, some market required yellow chicken, heavy chicken, light chicken. The assets, you must know your assets, detailed in details. That means you will not be able to optimize the use of your assets if you don't know your assets. If you have a chicken house, for example, is 1,000 square meters, but you don't know how many chicken houses you have, you don't know how many birds you can raise per meter square, you will not be able to optimize your production. Then you have to enforce the culture of pride in the business and the assets. Your people in your organization needs to be proud of their business and their assets. Also, you have to set housekeeping standards. You have to have regular review to ensure maximum utilization. You see what is, how much you produce in this cycle, how many cycles you produce per year. Manage your asset disposal, not just to use used equipment or whatever, which will add more cost. This is an example of the modern breeder farm. As all of us we see the feeder lines, and here is the assets when we talk about breeder farm on the rearing period. When it is not fit for purpose, you will not see this picture. This picture explains during the rearing, you don't need any bird standing without feed space. If you have some birds here didn't find place to eat, then your uniformity will be destroyed. Then if you understand your assets properly, then you are going to reach to this picture. And then you will get that many. Here is the housekeeping standards in a hatchery, like we see the picture in the bottom, and then we see the picture to compare. Here is the multi-story broiler farms, and you can see how the people is taking care of it, even it's traditional. Here you have the modern broiler farms, where the feed is introduced to the farm from outside the farm for the biosecurity. And all the feeding and ventilation and everything is full automatic. The chicken houses are insulated properly to save in the fuel cost, save in the bird mortality. You will see other picture. Here is the computer control, which is controlling the broiler house. Here we can see an example of chicken house, which is well designed and well established. The walls are sandwich panels, the roof are sandwich panels to achieve the required insulation to avoid losses in the fuel. Because in the winter time, when the temperature is -5 or even 0 or 5 degrees centigrade, you will not be able to achieve the target temperature if you don't have the chicken house well designed and well prepared. I don't like to go more in details because of the time. Same, you can see the distribution of the chicken, the broiler, in the house. That means the ventilation is properly done. If the ventilation is not good and is not even, you will see some chicken huddled in some place and some areas are free of chicken. Here is the housekeeping and the hygiene in the feed mill. I think Bonnie has visited this feed mill. You can see here the housekeeping in a processing plant. You can see the picture down here, how dirty is the work. And this is simple processing plant, but clean and tidy. Here is processing plant also. You can see the level of the hygiene and the housekeeping. Here you can see the chicken also in the line and the evisceration area where it must be very clean for health and safety. This is the quality control in a processing plant. When we look to the people, then we have to set targets for the people, individual, team, and company, then people understand what they have to do. But if you have a team without targets, then what they will do? They will do nothing, I guess. And these targets must be measured. It can be measured and accountable. And all these targets must, and the people, has to be aligned with the business goals. If some people are working for their own, then it's a different story. But all the team has to be aligned to the business goal. You have to create internal competition healthy. The competition between the people must be healthy. If it is unhealthy, then you will lose a lot of the effort of the people. Then if somebody innovate or has done a good work, you have to acknowledge him. Else you will lose his effort too. And reward. When we reward the success of the laborers or the farm manager or whatever, you have to teach him the targets, then he can achieve it, and then he understands why he is rewarded. Sometimes people punish the labor, and the labor doesn't know why. Even sometimes you give bonus to a labor, and he don't know why. Both are the same. The results will be the same. The people culture must be aligned with the business, as we said. You can break down your business into small units, and then you start your internal competition with healthy environment. But you must be able to measure. You have to communicate. You have to enforce the competitive spirit between the people. You have to reward success and innovation, as we have said. And then create the feeling of pride with your laborers and people. And drive performance improvement. You have to measure, and then you have to measure your performance, and then don't forget it. You have to continue driving the improvement in the performance. Operating performance, identify key performance indicator. You must have KPIs. Everybody knows it, understand it. Measure accurately and hand over between the departments. Again, set targets, quality, cost, and volume. First, we set the targets in production. Now you have to set targets in the quality and the cost and the volume. Without budget and forecast, people can, exactly the same when you drive a car without dashboard. Develop the best operating procedure, and you have to make manuals if you can. Then you have to set a training programs for the people to upgrade the professionality of your labor. Operating performance, tell the hygiene standard, the flock health plan, the nutrition to be fit for purpose, and utilize the processing KPIs to evaluate performance. And the most important point, you have to understand your product costing. If you don't know the costing of your product or the unit cost from where it comes, you will not be able to improve any of your return on investment. Also the sales, here operating performance in sales, you have to set sales targets measure by channel, measure by customer, measure customer service, measure your customer profitability, measure your product profitability, measure each of your sales team, report, review, and react. That 3R is very important. Rating performance in the procurement, in your procurement as an integration, when you are successful integration, then you have a bargaining power. You can minimize the stock holding, utilize consignment in the stock if possible, if it is available for you, buy in volume, set quality standard for your procurement, measure supplier service levels. The cost competitiveness from farm to customer logistics. You have to set the system in this way. Benchmark competitive procurement. Get it right from the first time. Culture is very important because a lot of farmers I have seen, they have done things twice or 3 times to get it right, and that is a very costly. Again, understand your cost structure, lowest cost of production focus. Your people, your laborers has to understand the cost, then they can help you to minimize the unit cost, and then you can make the profit, then you manage for profit. To understand our market is very essential point in the management of the integration. The live weight profile to match sales requirements, as we said in the beginning, many places prefer different weight. Some people prefer heavy chicken, and some they look for light chicken. Set the standard of the quality and ensure it's consistent. You need to continue in this market. You need 2 things. You need consistent quality and consistent supply. You will not achieve this without being successful integration. And then you have to, the carcass utilization, that's very important also in the feed formulation and the way you raise the chicken. Always plan for profit, understand the product costing and margin. Then you can continue and facing the challenges. Continue with the understand the market, the consumer. There is trends, there is seasonality, patterns, critical price points. Everybody knows that even in Egypt, the season of Ramadan is high season and the demand on the chicken. But you must be careful when you have a processing plant. Your price positioning is very essential. If you go with your prices down, and then you make your product inferior in the eye of the consumer. The channels is the retail, wholesale, food service, whatever, HoReCa, or to be in the market, you have to differentiate yourself, you have to differentiate your product and service. Your product and service, the branding, the breed, traceability, feed, nutrition, raw materials, feed additives, manage medication usage. The branding is very important to be in the mind of the consumers continuously, your brand. The breed, as we have said, some Some people look for yellow chicken, whatever is the color or the size. Traceability, when you have quality control and then you get the certificate like ISO 22000, which is Food Safety Management System, with including HACCP, then you can trace if you have a problem in the market. Also, the feed additives, as we have listened from our friends here about the bile acids and the effect in the cost. Branding. Then you have to know what your product stands for. Is the packaging, is the organoleptic. The organoleptic is four things. It is the taste, the flavor, the tenderness, and the juiciness. Some people is buying meat based on organoleptic. Some other people is buying based on the price. But people who are buying based on the price, they don't look for the quality. But the organoleptic in the meat consumption is one of the essential things. If you test some chicken meat and then you find the taste is not good, you will never buy this brand again. The service, your service level with the people, which is very well known, the quality of the product and the follow-up. The cold chain integrity is very essential in this business too. Everybody knows, because if the cold chain has any break in the middle, then you are finished. Then combination of all the above. Here is, you can see some products differentiated, and the packaging, everyone is trying to innovate in his packaging. Some key issues, as we said in the beginning, you need consistent supply and consistent quality. The consistent bird supply, volume and weight, you will never be able to do this without planning. You must be able to plan. And if you are not an integration, you will not be able to make any planning, because if you have just a broiler farm, you will be waiting for the day-old chick producers. As we said, the food safety, standardized production, procurement, leverage, volume, assets utilization, lowest cost of production, and sustainable profitability and return on investment. Efficient farm management, the essential, we must have some point, we must have to achieve the efficient farm management. Number one is a clear strategy. Without any strategy, you don't know. You are waiting for the market to move you right or left, up and down. Supply chain planning, coordinating the breeding to sales, from breeding to sales. You know what breed you are going to use, how much the production. You can put the plan, you can arrange your supply to be consistent. Goals across the supply chain, lowest cost to the market, consistent quality of product, service excellence and logistics, great customer relationship like what we have now, so that chance, and action-driven culture. The focus of the farm management in production, packaging, or the yield. This is the final slide. And thank you very much for your listening. Thank you.